A frontline US Navy destroyer, the USS Higgins, suddenly went dark at sea, losing power in the middle of an active deployment in the Indo-Pacific region. That raises a critical question. How did a US warship lose power while operating on a live mission in one of the world's most strategic naval theaters? The incident has sparked deeper concern, with damage reports raising doubts over what really happened. Was this the result of enemy fire or a failure from within the ship itself? According to a US defense official, the warship lost both power and propulsion for several hours while operating in the Indo-Pacific, leaving it temporarily disabled at sea. The US Navy later confirmed that USS Higgins experienced a complete loss of power and propulsion during its deployment, pointing to a serious onboard systems failure. Officials further stated that the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer suffered a propulsion system failure during an active naval mission, forcing the crew to respond to a critical breakdown mid-operation. The Navy attributed the incident to what it called an engineering casualty within the ship's electrical systems, indicating an internal malfunction rather than external damage. A spokesperson for the US 7th Fleet said the ship experienced a loss of power throughout the vessel, suggesting that the outage impacted multiple critical systems at once. Earlier reports had suggested that a fire may have broken out on board the warship, but the US Navy has made no mention of any such incident in its official statements. Following the failure, USS Higgins reportedly required external assistance after losing propulsion at sea, underscoring the severity of the breakdown. Such a system failure can leave a warship and its crew of around 300 effectively helpless in open waters, unable to maneuver or respond to threats. In such scenarios, emergency diesel generators can only sustain basic functions like communication systems and air conditioning, not combat capability. The US Navy has confirmed that no injuries were reported during the incident, and an investigation has now been launched to determine the exact cause of the failure. This Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer of the US Navy is a modern warship built for high-intensity combat at sea. Commissioned in 1999 and constructed by Bath Iron Works, it represents one of the later variants of America's workhorse destroyer line. Named in honor of Marine Colonel William R. Higgins, the ship carries forward his legacy as a frontline combat vessel with a global mission. Today it is homeported in Yokosuka, Japan, where it serves with the US 7th Fleet, projecting American naval power across the Western Pacific and Indian Ocean. Designed as a true multi-mission platform, this destroyer can conduct advanced air warfare, surface warfare, and anti-submarine warfare to fight simultaneous threats in the air and at sea. As fears of a second round in the Iran war rise, the IRGC is escalating its rhetoric, warning that US naval forces will face painful blows if they move from threats to action. IRGC Aerospace Chief Said Majid Musavi is warning that American warships will suffer the same fate as the US bases Iran has already hit, signaling that no platform is off limits. Musavi says that any short and intense air campaign imagined in Washington will in reality trigger a long, drawn-out and painful series of responses from Iran's side. Said Majid Musavi said, and I quote, "You have seen the fate of your bases in the region. You will also see the fate of your warships. With painful, prolonged, and far-reaching strikes, we will respond to the enemy's operations." Unquote. These warnings are landing just as reports say Trump has been briefed on fresh strike plans against Iran, including new options from his commanders. According to those reports, US Central Command has put forward concepts for short and intense strikes aimed at key Iranian infrastructure and military targets. Another option reportedly on the table involves seizing parts of the Strait of Hormuz with ground forces, using Marines or other units to control choke points. There has also been discussion of a special forces mission to secure or destroy Iran's enriched uranium stocks, a high-risk operation deep inside Iranian territory. Trump has publicly suggested that a naval blockade is somewhat more effective than airstrikes, but he has also kept the door open to direct attacks if he feels pushed. Earlier statements from Tehran have stressed that Iran is fully prepared to respond to any US surprise attack, claiming that its forces are on constant alert and expecting escalation. A senior officer from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy declared that his force stands ready to confront any fresh escalation, vowing to use what he called surprise tactics against US assets at sea. Mohammad Akbarzadeh, the IRGC Navy's Deputy for Political Affairs, delivered the remarks on April 28 in the southern port city of Mishap, making clear that Tehran wants its deterrent message heard well beyond the Gulf. Mohammad Akbarzadeh said, and I quote, "In the event of any fresh military action by the United States against Iran, the IRGC Navy will deploy its new capabilities. Navy would employ its new cards, including in the field of smart targeting, and will set the massive vessels of the criminal regime ablaze with its fury and take them out of operation. The Islamic Republic would also utilize its other instruments of power across other resistance fronts." Unquote. Akbarzadeh's warning did not come in a vacuum. It was issued against a backdrop of simmering tensions involving both the United States and Israel, with recent clashes still fresh in memory. He declared that if the US were to make any new military move, the IRGC Navy would respond by deploying its latest capabilities, hinting at upgraded weapons, sensors, and targeting systems. According to Akbarzadeh, such operations could inflict severe damage on what he referred to as enemy assets, potentially disabling major vessels or key infrastructure in any new confrontation. His warning followed a series of confrontations in which Iranian forces had already carried out retaliatory strikes, reinforcing Tehran's message that further action by Washington or its allies will not go unanswered.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.